Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom. I'm David Mencer, Israeli government spokesman. A quick update from me, and then to your questions, which you should put in the chat. We will take every one of them. It's Tuesday, the 6th of August, day 305 of the October 7th war. Firstly, on the current security tensions with regards to Iran and its proxies. Look, it's now beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Iranian axis of evil has formed a stranglehold against Israel. A ring of armed terror armies, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, and other militias. But it is equally clear that Israel will exact a heavy price for aggressions against it from any arena. Our long arm will reach anyone who causes harm to our people. Iran has made clear that they wish to go beyond military targets. The elimination of the commanders of the military wings of both Hamas and Hezbollah sends a clear message to anyone who threatens Israel. Mohammed Dayef, the head of the Hamas military wing, was directly responsible for planning and the execution of hundreds of deadly terror attacks against Israeli citizens, and for the crimes against humanity, the brutal massacre, the rapes, and the kidnappings of civilians as part of the horrific terror attack on October 7th. And Fuad Shukr, one of the most wanted terrorists in the world. Hezbollah's chief of staff was considered number 2 in the hierarchy of the Hezbollah terror organization. He killed 241 American servicemen and 58 French soldiers in Beirut in 1983. So, against the background of these threats, Israel is strong and Israel is ready for any scenario, defensive or offensive. Iran should understand that it will lose more from attacking Israel than it will gain. We will respond and we will exact a heavy price for any act of aggression against us, from whatever the quarter. Now on UNRWA. Overnight, we saw some stunning admissions hidden in the last line of an anonymous-looking press release. The UN's Office for Internal Oversight Services ruled that Israel's assertions about the involvement of UNRWA employees, aid workers themselves, UNRWA employees, in the October 7th massacre are, in fact, true. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Their internal investigation shows that 9 UNRWA employees took part in the October 7th massacre. Now, this will be no doubt brushed under the carpet as a few bad apples. It is not a few bad apples. It is a whole rotten orchard of terror. For 10 months, UNRWA denied this. On the media, in writing, it lied. This has literally been dragged out of them 10 months later. It's an achievement for the truth, but it's only the beginning. Israeli forces have retrieved millions of documents in captured enemy material. This intelligence exposes 2 undeniable facts. First, the involvement of United Nations Relief and Works Agency UNRWA employees in the October 7th massacre, now confirmed as true. Second, the deep and systemic infiltration by those terror organizations, Hamas, but also Palestinian Islamic Jihad, into the ranks of UNRWA. Philip Lazzarini, UNRWA's Commissioner General, has been given evidence of the UNRWA-Hamas nexus. It is literally impossible not to see the cooperation. For 10 months now, Mr. Lazzarini repeated the claim that Israel has not shared information about UNRWA and Hamas. He lied. Now it is clear. UNRWA is not a force for good in Gaza. UNRWA works hand in hand with Hamas, the Hamas server farm underneath the UNRWA HQ, the UNRWA employees who took part in October 7th massacre, the Hamas tunnels under UNRWA-run schools, Hamas terrorists using UNRWA schools as shelters, the UNRWA employees that took hostages into their own homes. Indeed, Israel has named 100 employees of UNRWA who are members of Hamas. They must all be fired without any further delay. But this is just a fraction of the true number of UNRWA workers also in Hamas. Let's be clear, this is a test case. test case for the future of the UN. So we say loud and clear, Israel calls on countries not to transfer funds to UNRWA, as the funds will likely be used to support terror. The fact that a UN organization was infiltrated by a terror organization should be of concern to all humanitarians. UNRWA are useless at aid distribution. UNRWA are useless at education. Israel sees no role for UNRWA in Gaza after the war ends. The fact that the UN remains silent about it is also of concern to donating countries. Now look, this is extremely important. Yes, of course, we call on the world to support valid humanitarian organizations in Gaza. They are needed. They are the real backbone of the humanitarian effort, but UNRWA is a front for Hamas. Now to COGAT and their work coordinating aid into Gaza. We are surging humanitarian aid into Gaza with more and more going in every day. In the last 24 hours, 274 trucks carrying humanitarian aid goods went into Gaza. Trucks arrived from Israel and the port of Ashdod, Egypt and Jordan, and entered via Kerem Shalom, 225 trucks, and the Erez crossing, 49 trucks. 6 tankers of cooking gas for vital humanitarian infrastructure also went in. There are 13 bakeries operational in Gaza, 6 in northern Gaza and 7 in central Gaza, producing close to 3 million pita bread loaves a day. We will continue to expand our efforts to facilitate humanitarian aid into and across Gaza. Since the beginning of this war, 45,000 trucks have delivered more than 858,000 tons of humanitarian aid that have entered Gaza. That's 80% more food compared to prior to October the 7th. So that's the end of our briefing today. I will now take your questions, which you should put in the chat together with your news outlet. Thank you. First question here is from Celia Vasdal from TV2 Norway. Iran said in a statement that they are definitely going to attack Israel. How are you preparing for this, and what will be the consequences of an Iranian attack? Thank you for that question, Celia. I believe that I dealt with that issue very clearly in the beginning part of my briefing, so you can rewind and play the tape. Secondly, Celia Vasdal of TV2 Norway, how does the Prime Minister's office react to Alon Pinkas' comment in Haaretz yesterday? He addresses Netanyahu as a leader who does not have the best intentions of Israel at heart, and is surprised the Americans have yet to catch up on us. Thank you for that question, Celia. So, of course, Israel has a vibrant media. Haaretz firmly have their place on the left, I would say, the marginal left of the political discourse in this country. They are an important outlet, but I think it's important to understand that they have 5% of market share. So they aren't mainstream, but then again, their views are, of course, very important, and many people read them, but they by no means represent the mainstream of Israeli opinion. And of course, all opinions are freely given in this country with its vibrant and free media, probably the freest media in hundreds of miles in any direction. So that's an opinion which that journalist you mentioned has given, and he's very welcome to that opinion, and he's very welcome to share it with whoever he wants, as is his right. Next question from Joel Pollack at Breitbart News. Firstly, CNN reported yesterday that nearly half of Hamas military battalions in northern and central Gaza have rebuilt some of their fighting capabilities despite more than 9 months of Israel's brutal offensive. The article disputed Prime Minister Netanyahu's claim that Israel is near victory in Gaza. The IDF denied the claims. Does the government have a response? Thank you for that question, Joel. Yes, indeed. I did see that article. I thought it was a shoddy piece of journalism, to be frank. It doesn't really match up. Firstly, no evidence was shared with the reader. The writer has got a track record of not being having a real understanding of the region, and certainly not of Israel's duty to defend itself. It made a plenty of factual errors. Let me lay out some of the broad arguments I would make in response to that article. Firstly, the IDF have confirmed that we have killed 17,000 Hamas and other terrorists, including those that we've taken off the battlefield through injury. We've made a phenomenal attempt at smashing the 24 Gaza battalions. We have shattered them. Yes, of course, Hamas isn't completely finished. We have taken apart their leadership. We said we would do it. We said we would destroy its military as well as its governing capabilities. We have done that to a large extent, but the battle is not over yet, and the fragments, the shards of these battalions are regrouping in different places, yes, of course, but we are smashing them wherever we find them. The latest IDF the latest IDF Telegram feed just from this morning will show dozens of terrorists killed in Rafah just today and in the last 24 hours, and in other areas. We're taking them apart slowly, consistently, with precise intelligence. And the bare facts of the matter are that Hamas have largely been shattered. They are not finished yet. Given half an opportunity, they would regroup and they would carry out their stated ambition to destroy this country and carry out another October the 7th massacre. We're here to stop them doing that, and it's difficult for Gazan civil society to rise up and live in peace with us when there are parts of Gaza which are still worried about a resuscitated Hamas. So we are finishing this job. So there's lots of factual inaccuracies. We are making giant strides to destroy this terrorist organization, but we won't stop until the job is done. But the Prime Minister has made very clear that the intensive phase of this war is coming to an end. There will still be a need to go into Gaza as and when necessary to destroy terrorists that are planning attacks against us. They are trying to regroup. That is our right, that is our duty, mandated to us by the Israeli people to defend this country. That's what any other country would do, but we are coming close to the end of this intensive phase of this war. Again, a war which we didn't want. I would say it's incumbent on all journalists not to report articles like this, which are just not based in fact. Okay, next question from Joel Pollock. Could you comment on the police investigation of former Prime Minister Ehud Barak for incitement? Thank you for that question, Joel. I haven't seen those reports, and we haven't got any comment to make on that. And it's from your question, it looks like a police matter rather than a question for the Prime Minister's office. Next question here is from Jim Williams at Zenga International News. As of 6 p.m. yesterday, U.S. State Department has not received a copy of the UN report on the UNRWA investigation, and spokesperson Matt Miller expressed hope to have one soon. It is not clear if anyone in the Israeli government has received a copy yet. Do you have any idea if Israel has a copy of the document? Thank you for that question, Jim. I saw the results of the investigation, which was released, I think, overnight, and I saw them this morning. I will check up if I can come back to you on that issue about the actual document you're looking at, but the results of that investigation have been shared publicly. Next question from Hannah Julian from the Jewish Press regarding Jordan, another country with whom Israel has a long time peace treaty has announced it will not allow anyone to use its airspace to respond to any Iranian attack on Israel, including those defending the Jewish state. What is Israel's response to this announcement, which comes along with Egypt's announcement that it will not join any coalition to defend Israel in such an attack? Okay, let me reply in this way, Hannah. We are extremely grateful to the United States and our other allies, I don't want to mention them publicly, who have said that they will stand with Israel. For some of them, they wish to do that privately, and I'm not going to share who they are from this podium. We are extremely grateful for that coalition that is forming to defend our people. We could be nothing but grateful to the coalition of countries led by the US that is pledged to defend the integrity of our people and protect our civilians and our country. Of course, the lion's share of that work is done by the IDF, as is their duty, as they have been mandated to do by the people and by the government of Israel. But the international community and all of those countries which you mentioned must curb the dangerous ambitions of Iran, which openly states its intentions to destroy the state of Israel, but not only us. They threaten both regional stability and the free world. All countries know that. Countries in our neighborhood know that for sure, and that is the basis of which we're working together. But the coalition being brought together by the US to support this country, we are grateful, and we are working together to face down both defensively and offensively this Iranian terrorist threat. Okay, I think that looks like the last question. Any other questions? No, that's the last question. So with that, thank you very much for joining us. We have these briefings Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The next one will be tomorrow at 3:30. In the meantime, we are available for any other questions or for interviews. Thank you for joining us. Please do stay safe, and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Bye-bye.